Here are 4 different ways to stay mentally sharp as you get older in order to defend yourself in a real life attack. We always focus so much on the physical techniques, meaning the physical moves of self-defense. But I want to make sure that you're mentally sharp, mentally prepared in order to defend yourself when an attack goes down. The first way is to make sure that we're always exercising. Now, I know I said we just focus on the mental stuff, isn't that more of a physical thing? But you have to understand when we're exercising, you're growing and getting stronger mentally as well. You're learning how to put yourself past areas of discomfort. And when you talk about defending yourself in a real life altercation, it's all about discomfort and getting good with the discomfort. So make sure that we exercise on a regular basis. I'm talking a minimum of at least 3 times a week. Now, obviously make sure that the exercise is very, very age appropriate. So even if it's something where you can't get around very easily, or let's say that we even miss a workout, going ahead and sitting down, getting back up in a chair and doing that for, let's say, 10 or 20 reps can be just enough workout to make sure that we stay mentally sharp. The second tip that I have for you is making sure that we have what's called ground mobility. Now, I talk about ground mobility, all I'm talking about is make sure that we do some kind of calisthenics down on the ground, or at least some kind of mobility drills. You want to make sure that we're comfortable getting up and down off the ground. So many different times we might have heard maybe on old commercials or stuff like that you fall and you can't get up. When we get older, we have to understand that getting up off the ground, it's a little bit more of a challenge. So we have to make sure that we get comfortable with that. And all you can do is take time going down from, let's say, a kneeling position to a sitting position, back to a kneeling position, and then back to a standing position. Something simple as that, and doing that for 20 times not only can give you a great workout, but also going to get yourself mentally sharp as well, knowing that we can get from the ground and back on up. Now, how does this relate? Well, think about it. In a real life altercation, if we're knocked down to the ground, we need to make sure that we can get on up so we not only can defend ourselves, but also escape. Now, if you think that this is not challenging enough, I really challenge you to stop the video right now and just simply try that. Go from a kneeling position down to a seated position and then back up to a kneeling position. That's 1 rep. I guarantee if you do that 20 times, you're gonna feel sore. Let me know how it went in the comments. Now, if you've done the kneeling down to sitting down and then getting back up in reverse, if you want something a little bit more challenging, go into what I call a break fall. All that means is that when we fall down, we're making contact with our rear end first. We want to go all the way down to our back. Then we want to get from this position all the way back up to a standing position again. So this kind of movement right here of getting knocked down and getting back up once again, this is kind of the next step. If you do that 20 times or 20 times each side, once again, I want to hear from you down in the comments. The third tip that I have for you is to make sure that we do some kind of competition. Now, all that means is I don't care if it's pickleball or if it's even having a short little race with someone, staying mentally sharp comes down to making sure that we're challenging ourselves, not just against ourselves, but also challenging ourselves up against somebody else. It's been proven over and over again in research that any form of competition, especially for guys here, raises your testosterone level. So we want to make sure that we find any way that we can to challenge ourselves. It just doesn't have to be like, let's say, in a martial art. It can be in a regular sport. So if you can get on out and maybe play a little bit of basketball, or like I said, a little bit of pickleball, something that you go ahead and you can start getting the competitive juices going, that is only going to benefit you, not only physically, but also mentally as well. The fourth tip that I have for you to stay mentally sharp is making sure that we plan our travels. Now, all I simply mean by that is that I don't care if you guys are going, let's say, to the grocery store, or if you have, let's say, a vacation to travel. I want to make sure that you plan your travels. Now, why is this so important? Why is this going to go ahead and sharpen yourself mentally? Well, think about it. You're simply thinking in advance where you're going to go, where you're going to be, what might I need to pay attention to or even look out for. Staying mentally sharp is also about planning strategically. So we need to make sure that we're thinking through our daily habits or our daily errands. Not only is that keeping you mentally sharp, but it's also the best thing to do physically, because once again, we're preparing ourselves for the physical environment and threats that could be out there.